Hi, welcome back to the Discipler Group. We're glad that you've come to join us again. We've been looking at serving like Christ, and this is the second part in this series. Today we want to continue to think about what it means to serve like Christ as we bring justice into the world. Jeremiah 29:7 says, "Seek the shalom of the community where I have sent you, for in its shalom you will find your shalom." Here the word shalom means more than peace, more than the absence of conflict. What it really means is God's wholeness, health, healing. In the shalom community, there's prosperity, economic development. There's hope for people around housing. There's also a sense of community healing and gathering and working for one another. All of these are justice themes. The Scriptures want us to work in our communities for ministries of mercy and also ministries of justice. Today, we're going to focus on justice. We have Jim Wallace from Sojourners who's going to come and share with us. Jim Wallace is a person who speaks out for the gospel of Jesus Christ in the world. He talks about himself as an evangelical who is socially conscious-minded. We're also going to hear about Justice for Our Neighbors, a ministry that's working here in our Baltimore-Washington conference to reach out to immigrants and continue to welcome them into our communities and to make sure that justice is occurring with immigration and immigrants coming into our communities. And then we're also going to see some of the footage and clips from the Communities of Shalom training. Here in our conference, 8 communities of Shalom are receiving training and are going to begin to work in partnership with others in their community to bring God's Shalom to the community. One of the things I'd like for you to do is to think about your ministry, your congregation, even how you worship. How are the themes of justice lifted up? What is it that you pray for during your worship time? Do you pray that God's justice might be known within your congregation, within your community, within the world? What is it that you're doing to help bring justice? Together, as we serve like Christ, we can bring God's justice to the world. Again, thank you for coming. We look forward to our continued ministry together.
Every generation has to ask 2 questions. What is acceptable and what is possible? When what was thought to be acceptable suddenly becomes unacceptable, things change. Or when things were thought to be impossible now are said to be possible. That's what changes history. Where 3 billion people live on less than $2 a day is neither just nor secure. We are facing some huge issues that really could do us in unless we can find a way to turn them around. And I think it may be that only a revival of faith, in the way I'm talking about revival, could do that. A real spiritual awakening, a great awakening. The Great Awakening talks about politics being broken in this country. I mean, politics is failing to resolve or even address the biggest moral issues of our time. I think we may be on the edge of something new, another time that could be revival or another great awakening. I see it, feel it everywhere.
I have a dream that one day.
History changes when, first of all, somebody believes this can change. That's how change always starts. A little group of people says, that is something that can be changed. We shouldn't live with that, or accept that, or tolerate that. If you care about social justice and real change, and you believe there's a moral dimension, a moral foundation of this, and you believe that if your hunger is for spirituality, or social justice, or both, and especially the connection between the two, that's the one the world is waiting for, particularly a new generation. Well, I'm meeting all these young pastor teachers that I talk about in the book that are have this new evangelical agenda, and they're all over the country. And I'm talking to them all, but they all don't know each other. They've heard of each other, but they don't know each other. And they're talking about people coming to faith, coming to Jesus Christ. And then they want to explode this into their neighborhood, their own parish, if you will, and into the world. You know, John Wesley used to say, "The world is my parish." You know, but churches right now have no parish; they just have people. They have no sense of our obligation to this community. I was talking to this group of large church pastors recently, and I said, "Now here's a contrast. You've got large and growing churches, and failing neighborhoods, failing cities, a failing society. That's a contrast. So what's your parish? Just the people who come on Sunday? Or is it where you live?" I have a friend, a black pastor in an inner city neighborhood, and a kid got shot to death on the steps of his church on a Saturday night. Nobody was there. The kid died on his church steps. And my friend, it was for him just a wake-up call. He said, "Am I responsible for what happens in the steps of my church when we're not there?" I am responsible. The idea of a parish is we're responsible here at St. Catherine's for these 10 blocks, whether we're in church or not, or whether the folks here are all believers or not. What happens here is our business. The quality of life here, what's right and wrong and just and unjust, the quality of life for people here is our business. It's our parish. We take care of it.
My name is Giovanni Arroyo, and this is Monique Bona, our staff attorney for Justice for Our Neighbor of the Baltimore-Washington Conference. People have asked me, what is Justice for Our Neighbor, and how is this the work of Jesus Christ? Justice for Our Neighbor is a faith-driven ministry welcoming the immigrant into our churches and communities by providing high-quality legal services, education, advocacy. JFUN, Justice for Our Neighbor, is a ministry that provides strangers in our lands, our sojourners, a place where they feel welcomed, loved, and embraced, a place where our volunteers could help them seek avenues of legalizing their status or obtaining new routes to live in the United States.
One of the important distinctions with Justice for Our Neighbors from other nonprofit immigration clinics is that it's a volunteer-based model. All the other models are just regular legal clinics. But what the United Methodist Church tries to do is not only give legal services to immigrants, but also to have the church members be integrated in the experience. That's why it's a ministry. I'm asked many times, how has Justice for Our Neighbors helped people? Give me a face, give me an idea of someone and what their life was like. And I think about the woman from Congo who was imprisoned, raped, who was able to escape, finally made her way from Cuba through Mexico into the United States, and landed herself here, not knowing anything about immigration, not knowing anything about the legal system, finding out that she was HIV positive and that she was pregnant due to what she had experienced in the Congo, and how we were able to support her just by being there, just by helping her through the process and giving her the hope that she would be able to stay here, that she wouldn't be forced to return, that she would be able to have a new life in the United States, which is the basis of what America is all about. That's one example. The other example is a woman from El Salvador who suffered domestic violence from her husband for a decade, who had 3 young children. And she was here with him. He almost killed her while her 3 children were upstairs. She was in the basement being almost beaten and choked to death. And how with her help, helping the police and the criminal justice system, she was able to put this vicious criminal away, and will finally have him be deported to El Salvador when he's finished with his prison sentence here. And it's given her a chance to be able to stay here with her children and live a safe and secure life, something that she'll never be able to have anywhere else.
We as a church, we are called to serve our neighbor. And as we think about it, we remind of Jesus' model for us for ministry. It was a model that was walking with the people, being with the people, eating with the people, sharing with the people. We are the body of Christ, and as the body of Christ, we are called to feed the hungry, to visit the sick, to embrace those who are not loved, and to be the voice for those who are on the margins. We are challenged by Jesus Christ today. We're challenged to think about how we are stepping out in faith and to create a place where people are filled with mercy and compassion, a place where they can know that Christ is still alive, that Christ is still moving, and that the risen Christ still embraces them and gives them a hope for a future. That's what Justice for Our Neighbor is all about.
Hi, my name is Bruce Haskins. I'm a discipler guide in the Baltimore-Washington Conference. Baltimore is my home, and my city has seen violence and crime as bad as any city in this country. But I believe there is hope for the city of Baltimore. One way that God is moving in Baltimore is through communities of shalom. Working together with other faith communities, businesses, community organizations, and the government, we're working to bring God's shalom to the city. Shalom zones are based on 4 principles. They're asset-based community development, which means looking at your community to find those things that may not appear to be assets, but actually can be used to improve community life. The second principle is collaboration, working with other organizations to bring shalom to the community. The third principle is faith in action, putting into action what we say we as Christians believe. The last principle is working towards systemic change, trying not to put Band-Aids on problems, but to work to resolve the root causes of problems like poverty and crime, violence. And there are strategies that are employed in bringing these principles to life. The first strategy is renewing community life spiritually. Second, renewing and rebuilding community economic life. Then, strengthening multicultural relations. And finally, empowering health, wholeness, and healing. I invite you to work with us in Baltimore or in your own community. You can contact me at bhaskins@bwcumc.org or at the Conference Center, extension 477.